evening, everybody. I'd like to bring to order the September 21st board meeting of the Granville Exempted Village School District Board of Education. Please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take roll, please.
Dr. Corman?
Here.
Ms. Deeds?
Here.
Mr. Jennings?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Dr. Rentham?
Here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Accommodation?
that's you.
Excellent. Yes,
Sorry.
it is. So tonight we have one commendation to provide to GMS teacher Jill Esch. So something unique happened at the beginning of this year, and so we've coined this year the year of Jill, because we have two awards that we give at the beginning of the school year. The first one is the Jody Van Tyne Award that is provided by the Granville Education Foundation, and it's the nominations are provided from parents and students. And so Jill was identified as the Jody Van Tyne Award winner. And at the same time, we give a Dow Excellence in Math and Science Education Award. And she was nominated by her principal. They didn't know that they were nominating Jill at the same time. So Jill won two awards, the Jody Van Tyne Award and the Dow Award for Excellence in Science and Engineering Mathematics. So some of the things that were said about Jill was she loves her students, and it shows. And it also, the nomination letter also says she helps her students learn to love math. Now, I hear a lot of kids say, oh, I'm just not good at math. And I think it's Jill's personal mission to make sure all kids love and enjoy math in middle school. So Jill was recognized by her peers at Granville Schools at the staff convocation in August, and we'd like to congratulate Jill here again for these outstanding achievements. You are a perfect representative of our world-class teaching class, or teachers. So thank you. Excellent. For those of you who didn't hear Jill as she walked up, she said, "Oh, you're gonna get it." So great that you could be here, Jill, and thank you very much. I look forward to getting it. So, thank you.
Okay.
And
Now we have a student report from
Yeah.
Simon
Krajewski.
Krajewski.
That's close.
Yes.
How would you say it correctly?
Krajewski.
Krajewski. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon.
I guess this is easier said than done.
Whatever works for you. If you want a seat, that's fine as well.
You sure?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon Krajewski, and I'm this year's senior class president. Now, some students say, oh my gosh, it's the first month of school, I don't want to be back. I am thrilled to be back, personally speaking. Sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, except all my summer reading, of course, has been miserable. So, to start out the school year, we held our very first club fair, where 28 of Granville High School's extracurricular clubs held sign-ups. Clubs like the Gay Straight Alliance, Youth in Government, and the Rotary-sponsored Interact Club, which is new to Granville this year, received 75 plus new member sign-ups, putting these three clubs well over 100 members in one of their first years. When Gay Straight Alliance and Youth in Government held their first meetings, their rooms were filled to the brink with students, left with standing room only, and barely any standing room. When Interact held their first meeting, they had to move to the Little Theater to ensure enough space for all their new members. These 3 clubs are not just a social gathering. Each of these clubs has a purpose, educating students outside of the typical classroom walls and bettering the community. In addition to the club fair, the arts departments have been equally active. The choirs, bands, and orchestras have all been preparing for upcoming events, and the theater department has been busy, holding auditions for upcoming plays and selecting the lead roles. The winter play will be Pink Panther, and the fall play will be Steel Magnolias. Finally, September marks the month of homecoming, which after this is my 4th homecoming, and I'm almost excited to be done with it. So this year's theme is Classic Homecoming, Classic Victory. Each class was assigned a classic movie to base their banner and float off of. As we speak, those 4 floats, along with the 6 members of the elected homecoming court, are heading towards the high school for the annual bonfire. The homecoming game will be played this Friday at home at 7 o'clock against Johnstown. And lastly, the dance will be held this Saturday from 8 to 11 in the high school commons. Thank you so much for having me.
Great.
I'm moving along.
You're fine.
Thank you, Shai.
No rush.
And Simon, if you want to leave, I know that you have other things to attend to.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, so feel free to leave. You don't have to stay.
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming.
being here.
Everybody else is a hostage, but you're not.
Anytime.
Staff report?
Okay, excellent. Mike, will you hit the lights? Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's really dark. All right. What I'd like to do is share with you a little bit of information that the school district released last week called the Quality Profile. The school district has been part of the Alliance for Quality Education for several years. It's an advocacy group that really looks at many of the high-achieving school districts around the state of Ohio. We do a lot of advocacy around the state assessment system, school funding, and a lot of other issues. I was actually at the State House today meeting with Representative Hayes, looking at safe harbor for districts from last year's testing provisions, and also talking about College Credit Plus and means testing, that program, so that those that have the means can pay for their credit. But one of the byproducts of this group is a quality profile. As you know, the state of Ohio releases the local report card every year right around this time. Because of the issues that were related to the testing situation last year, the state has delayed the release until January. And the quality, or the local report card, is always a year in the rear. So it's based on the 2014-15 school year. So our organization, the Alliance, said, why don't we start to share some information that we think is germane to our community? We've been doing that through the state of the schools, here internally and externally. A lot of the state of the schools, quite honestly, is data-driven, and a lot of information that I say it doesn't pass the Kendall test. When I go to Kendall and I present, many people fall asleep. So it doesn't really pass the Kendall test. So we're trying to put together some information around some common themes about the quality of our school district. So this is a work in progress, but some of the aspects that you will see in our quality profile resonate with some of the information in the local report card, but most of the information that is in our State of the Schools is included here as well. So the first strand is academics. Obviously, it's our core purpose. It's what we do on a regular basis. So the academic highlights from last year. Early literacy is critical for future success, and 92% of our third graders passed the third grade reading OAA, and 78% scored at the top highest levels of advanced and accelerated. So that's a good thing. We, the state of Ohio put in the third grade reading guarantee, which we don't necessarily agree with because of the retention provision, but it is critical for all kids to be able to read and read well. I don't think anybody argues that. So we want to make sure that all of our students are reading and reading at high levels. Granville offers 18 advanced placement courses, and 82% of the 334 AP tests taken scored a 3 or higher, which is the score that's needed to earn college credit. And 67 GHS students were named AP scholars, which means that they had taken over 8 AP courses in the last 2 years of their time at GHS, which is pretty amazing when you think about the rigor of an AP course, because an AP course is a college level course. Granville students earned an average ACT composite score of 25.2. The average in the state of Ohio is 22. Average SAT of 1653 on the 400 point scale, and then 1,116 on the 1,600 point scale. So obviously our students do well on several measures. More than 88% of our graduates are attending a 4-year institution, including over 200 top universities. And the estimated scholarships, and we say estimated because it's self-reported, and a lot of the kids don't report, so I'm sure that number's higher. But the scholarships for the class of 2015 exceeded $4 million, which is amazing. And a lot of our students go into their first year of college actually as a second semester student because they have taken some AP courses. Academic competition recognitions and scholarships. The National Merit Scholarship Program had 3 National Merit finalists and 7 commended students from Granville. And we're going to be releasing more information about this year's group of students, and we did even better in that category. The Granville High School achieved the SOAR Award for High Progress High Schools from Battelle for Kids. That is an award given to the high school for showing growth with their student. So point A to point B, how much did they grow throughout a year? That shows high progress. They won that award for, I think, the 5th or 6th year in a row. And we're usually one of the highest in the state. The Global Scholars Diploma process, which is really still in its infancy, which builds competencies of investigating the world, recognizing perspectives, communicating ideas, and taking action, was awarded to 23 students in the graduating class, and we have 87 students enrolled currently in that program. It's one of those things that I think is unique to Granville because we were the pioneers of the program. And we continue to have districts come and meet with us to find out what we've done to really build the interest of our students. We have award-winning world language programs, including gold, silver, and bronze medals in the 2015 National French, Latin, and Spanish exams. I always love going to the Global Honors Night, Global Language Honors Night, and hearing, that kids in our school district earned like top 5 places on that exam. I mean, it's unbelievable how well they do. So we're very proud of that. Granville Middle School students earned about 255 high school credits towards graduation. I think that's the benefit of having a combined campus where students can go from one end of the building to the other to get access to classes that they'd like to take. GES provides both intervention and enrichment supports at all grade levels, and they use a positive behavioral intervention system called PACS. If you have younger kids, you've probably heard PACS or SPLEAMS. It's the language that they use to try and talk about positive behavior, which builds strong character for our students. And then GIS features a cultural arts night that showcases the art, music, and physical education programs. So again, that's kind of our academic highlights. The arts, I'm not going to list all of them, but general highlights. The National Lexicon of Stability Award winners. We won the Project Localize Award, and that was a combined effort between the CTEC class, the CAP class, and Granville students, and Mr. Redding's AP Environmental class in the garden crew. So they went to Washington, D.C., and were honored there. GIS offers honors choirs to all 6th grade. Our music programs are amazing, and Brad Betts is back there. Wave your hand, Brad. He's our music booster president. The bands, the choirs, the orchestras are just absolutely phenomenal. and they continue to score very well in excellent ratings at their solo and ensemble contests. And you can read some of their superior ratings. And this year, our marching band was invited to perform at the 2015 Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta, so they're going to be going to do that. Our art program, we have, every single year, we have kids that participate in the Governor's Youth Art Exhibit, and we always have a finalist that represents Granville in that group. Simon mentioned that we have a fantastic drama department. And last year, Bye Bye Birdie, the Real Princess and the Pea, and Our Town were the drama presentations. They were fantastic. Blue Steel. How many school districts do you know that have a blue steel or a steel drum group? And we have it not only for our students, but Brad was telling me that the adult blue steel group was playing on Thursday night, so that's fantastic. And they earned a silver medal at the Panorama Caribbean Music Festival, which sounds like a blast, honestly. GIS has an Artist in Schools program, which provides educational programs exposing students to a lot of cultural and arts events. GES music involves a lot of rhyme, games, songs, and they do a lot of ORF instruments, which are percussion instruments. And then, we have 5 GHS musical students that were part of the All-State Choir, and 2 were chosen from the All-State Choir Orchestra. So, obviously, strong arts. I think the board's perspective and the rest of the community resonates with this is these aren't considered extras for us. We believe that it's part of the educational program for students, that they learn a lot of life lessons in these settings that help prepare them for success after K-12. Student leadership and activities. More than 90% of GHS students are involved in an extracurricular activity. That usually is right around 85, and it's been ticking upwards over the last couple of years. I think that's an amazing statistic because we know that if they participate in extracurricular activities, the likelihood of them participating in maybe detrimental activities is reduced statistically. So we call that a protective factor. We have over 29 varsity sports. Our sports teams have won 4 league titles, 4 district titles, and we had 2 state championships last year. 1 in girls cross country and the girls softball team, which is fantastic. GIS students continue to write grants to Fuel Up to Play 60, which is an NFL program, and they continue to receive grants. I believe there are 2 grants. Did we award them last time or this time? They're tonight.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's like $6,000 worth of grant money for programs related to the Fuel Up to Play 60. FCCLA members have competed at national conference for the past 5 years. The Feed the Dream art show and food drive was inspired by Martin Luther King, and it's the integration of service and art. And that What's Your Passion to Serve panel over there was an artifact from last year's Feed the Dream art show. And then our archery program at GIS has students that participate in national and world. Again, giving our students a lot of opportunities to participate in what they feel is their passion or their niche. Mike will like this slide, fiscal stewardship. Our per pupil expenditure is below the state average. Mike continues to earn the Auditor's Certificate of Achievement and the GFOA Excellence in Financial Reporting Awards. We have adequate fund balances expected through at least FY19 or fiscal year 19. 60% of the district's cost per pupil is spent on instruction and direct student support. The state average is 58%. And the cost savings from outsourcing food service and custodial maintenance are significant. And I think that's unique to Granville. And what I would say is our food service program is one of the best in the state. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Parent and community involvement. Community members serve on 5 superintendent committees related to our benchmarks, the board benchmarks that you established 5 years ago. We have support from parent-teacher organizations, Boosters, Granville Education Foundation, Kiwanis, Rotary, the Granville Foundation, Licking County Foundation, the Granville Police and Fire Department, Aspire, PACE, and GAPS. So, and you're going to hear from the GAPS group here soon. But we know that we can't do it without the support of the community, and our mission statement even starts with that. With the support of the community, we provide a superior educational experience for students in a personalized learning environment. So we absolutely feel like the parent and community involvement are critical. The Land Lab at GIS is a partnership with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Denison University, Dawes Arboretum, the Licking County Soil and Water Conservation District, and probably several others that we just didn't list. But it's a fantastic partnership that is really beneficial to our students, and I think unique to Granville as well. As a matter of fact, I think when we were there, Jen, didn't they say that this is one of the largest land labs in the state of Ohio? Mm-hmm. If not the?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Columbus Council on World Affairs is a partner. They help us with our Global Scholars Program. They provide opportunities for our students to go and meet with business leaders around the state and show them how to, or really the impact of our global economy. Students can take courses through College Credit Plus and the Licking Scholars Program at several institutions, including Denison, Kenyon. I know I'm not supposed to mention that because Adam always says, why do you have to mention Kenyon? Just leave them out. COTC, OSUN, and Columbus State. Granville hosts the annual Licking County College Career Fair with over 100 colleges and universities in attendance. And I will tell you, when they come to Granville, they love coming here because we have a lot of engaged students that come and have really good conversations with them about potentially attending their college or university. The district has facilitated community forums on economic sustainability, and Mr. Janice is going to do a little bit of a report during the Granville or the board reports, but we're continuing those conversations, really talking about what it takes to sustain the quality programs that we have, not only in the schools but in the community. And then we are the first in Licking County to earn the HeartSafe School Accreditation Program, which increased awareness around emergency response to cardiac events. So a lot of things that happened last year. Student services, I think the first part is critical, the bold part. 97% of our students feel physically safe and at school, and more than 93 respond that they feel comfortable talking with an adult at school if necessary. And we know that what's critical in learning is developing a significant relationship. And based on that relationship, learning takes off, and so we really have been adding to that. Also part of our student services is, our food. We feel like we are offering fresh local sourced food. 40% of our diet is in there, in that category. We have enriched classes for gifted and talented students that are offered in all buildings in a variety of subjects. We have a registered nurse available in each building, and we have our intervention staff trained in multisensory reading. The last 3 years we've been very intentional based on feedback that we need to do a better job at helping students that have difficulty acquiring the ability to read, to do it in a multisensory approach. So we've been doing that training as well. So obviously we have a tradition of excellence that we'd like to continue. Every member of our staff is highly qualified. 78% of our staff have a master's degree. Average teaching experience is 12 years. I think when you look at this year, what we're prioritizing is using Schoology as a learning management system. And after the collaborative innovation process, we've identified project-based learning as a future initiative, as well as several others that we're continuing to pursue. Specifically, we're looking at an IT pathway at the high school this year, not this year, but for next year. And we're also, I think we have a grant that's going to the GEF, or it already has, related to movement in the classroom and a pilot around that. Our Balanced Calendar Committee is working with our internal calendar committee We made some changes to the state assessment system based on our advocacy, and all of those were byproducts of the innovation process. So, with that, I've talked a lot. Again, this is something that is just a sampling of what we believe makes our school district great. But as you know, and I know, really it's all about the staff, the students, the parents, and the community working together to meet the needs of every single child. So that's our quality profile. We've promoted that. We did a press release on it. I will be going to several groups to talk a little bit about what happened last year and how we're moving forward. Quite honestly, I'm not necessarily going to spend a lot of time on the local report card when it comes out in January, just because the assessment system was kind of convoluted at best last year. So I don't necessarily think it's something that we're going to prioritize as a communication structure. We're going to utilize the quality profile. And if there's something that you think we've done that we should communicate more, let us know. This is an ongoing process. This is our first quality profile. So if there's something that you think we should be promoting about our school district, let us know. Any questions?
So is this the same
I've silenced the board.
Is this the format that's being used by the other districts that are part of that organization?
Yeah, so there's a template, but there's also latitude to expand. Several of the districts that are in that partnership have communication departments that are 4 or 5 deep, and they have done a lot of graphic design work, and we've worked with our CAP group, our digital art and design group at the high school, to give us a different template, a different look and feel, but similar structure of the headings. Because we wanted to have some consistency across the release.
I think it's a great summary of a lot of fantastic stuff and things. It's not extremely quantitative, right? There are discussions about ways to include that, outside of what the state report card says, right? Because I think there may be more important metrics. Or what are your thoughts about ways to make it resonate over time, so you can kind of see progression?
I think this is,
and so forth.
There are a couple of different structures here. So we always will have our state of the schools, which is our internal metrics.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be very data rich. But quite honestly, when I go and talk to groups, they gloss over with the data and they go, I don't understand what you're talking about anyway. So they really want more of the anecdotal type of comments about the school district, but we will always have that internal look and feel to our state of the schools as our continuous improvement mechanism. Does that help?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I think the Alliance, at least the one meeting that I went to with you, it was intentional,
Yes.
not to be a data heavy product, again,
Yeah.
because for communication with the community and, to keep their interest in.
And they really were intentional about saying what matters to your community. Put that in your profile. What do you think resonates with your community, and what do you think you want to promote? And so, obviously Global Scholars is unique to us. The Land Lab is unique to us. The food service program is unique to us. So, those are some of the things that we wanted to highlight.
It might be nice to, I'm thinking about this as a piece that people might be looking at when they're looking at the community to relocate to. Sometimes it's nice if you have like an elevator speech version of this that's maybe not the numbers, but like a one-page spread or a fold-out that you could obviously not put nearly all of this,
Right.
but
We kind of have that in the high school profile, which, doesn't necessarily talk about the other parts of our school district, but the high school profile is a one-page summary of the highlights of our school district. But I think that's a great idea.
I don't know,
because
maybe the
simple
newspaper or
is
the
better.
yearbook staff in terms
Yeah.
of the people who have, students who have experience with some of that too, might be in addition to the CAP class.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, thank you.
How many schools are in the Alliance?
63. And the dispatch did a little story about 4, Upper Arlington, Bexley, Olentangy, and us. But there are several others. Hilliard is part of it, Dublin's part of it. there's quite a few others in the inner ring.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay. At this point in the meeting, we'd like to entertain public comments. If you'd like to address the board, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and speak for up to 3 to 5 minutes. And you would, please
Yep.
come on.
I'm bearing handouts.
Great.
Excellent.
Yes, I did.
Excellent, thank you.
That's okay.
You're fine. Yeah, I can look at you.
No.
Okay. So, before you get looking at those, so my name is Kelly Bailey, and I come here tonight from GEVSD, Granville Advocacy Partners for Students. And I come here as part of this sort of casual committee, our committee members here. So I'm going to introduce Amanda Schneider, Julie Pevison, Heather Painter, Melissa Knuth, and I saw Robin over there. Yes. So we came here to sort of formally introduce ourselves to you. Some of you we've spoken to individually, and we were even mentioned up there, so maybe you've heard some little rumblings about us. But we'd like to let you know a little bit about what we hope GAPS will be and what we hope it will not be, hope it won't be. We were brought together when one of our founding members had a particularly frustrating situation with the school district. She was looking to garner a little support for an appointment, and she reached out to a friend whom she knew had similar frustrations, and that friend reached out to another, who reached out to another, who reached out to another, and then we were all sitting around having coffee, sharing our stories. And although each of our situations was a little bit different, the common theme was that all of our kids had somehow fallen into a gap within the system. And some of our gaps came from a lack of early identification of learning differences in the form of dyslexia, some from poor understanding about behavioral differences like ADHD or sensory processing disorders, and some from a lack of knowledge on our own part as parents as to what was really available for our children already within the school district. So all these situations resulted in inadequate intervention strategies. And it left us wondering, we just heard all these great things, how in the world in such a good school system did all of our kids fall into these gaps? And we thought, maybe instead of sitting around River Road talking about that, we should do something about it. So hopefully this group will be the change and kind of the fruits of our labor in that way. We are fortunate to live in a district with so much parental engagement. There are a lot of squeaky wheels, as I'm sure you all know. And we need to be cautious, though, because when we hear from so many, we can assume we've heard from all. Not all the needs are being met currently. Even as we've seen change and improvements in many aspects of our district over the last few years, these gaps persist. As a group, we will provide a positive environment for parents to grow and be better prepared to help their children. What we are not is a place for parents to come and just vent or complain. This is a be the change thing. This is a be helpful, not to come and complain. Educational meetings will allow parents to network and learn from one another, as well as learn more about the struggles their own children face. Children are invited, and they'll have an opportunity for camaraderie and to network in their own way. Each year, we'll hold a meeting with specific interest to parents and educators alike, and offering continuing ed credit to those teachers in attendance. We hope to work very closely with the district. Parents play an important role in the school system, and oftentimes you don't know what's working unless you ask us. And along those same lines, we may not understand some of the decisions you make unless we question them, and then we're better to see how things came to be. We've had several of those discussions already, and I think hopefully we've all found them very productive. This liaison and communication to parents is a place where we really hope to be impactful. We may not always agree on the road to take, but I know we all want every child to succeed. So you have in front of you all of our meetings, some of the topics, and maybe evolve a little bit as time goes on, but you're all invited. We're open forum and hopefully open to everybody who is interested. So here we are, and we just wanted to introduce ourselves to you and let you know that you're included.
Great, thank you.
That's all. Any questions or anything?
We welcome you as a partner.
Absolutely, thank you very much for being
We're
here.
looking forward to it.
Great.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to address it?
How you doing? I'm Andrew King. I'm on Columbus Road. I've got 2 children in the district. So let me first thank you guys for the wonderful job you do. I know we talk to other parents, talk about our kids being in the orchestra. They're like, your kids are in what? So, I mean, the activities here are obviously unparalleled, so you guys do a good job. The reason I wanted to introduce myself tonight is that I'm running for trustee, and I'm sort of in line with the thought that the school needs good partners. I think everyone here needs to be a good partner with each other. In many ways, there's a limited number of tax dollars that every political subdivision is looking to tap into. And I realize there's some challenges on the horizon with many of the political subdivisions here. And you know, I have experience working with townships. I'm a assistant prosecuting attorney in Delaware. Been an attorney for over a decade now. And you know, I wanted to be part of the solution going forward, knowing that these issues are on the horizon. So just came here to introduce myself, learn a little bit more about what's going on in the district outside of what trickles through from, you know, my kids and whatnot are looking at the minutes. So again, thanks for your time. And I don't have anything as fancy to pass around, but I'll give you a card in case anyone wants to reach out and contact me. So.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Great.
Anybody else like to address the board at this time? No? Okay. We'll move on to board reports then. I'll go ahead and start and give a little update on CTEC. I thought it's going to be a little bit like a state of the schools kind of update. I thought it was sort of a...
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys don't
Yes.
have
You
to
won't-
stay.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
more than welcome.
Be free.
Yeah.
Be free.
And Jill, for sure. Yeah, go right ahead.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Do you want me to drive for you?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So this is just a little bit of a, update on, it's kind of the things that go into CTEC's report card, but just a little bit, just to give you a sense of what's going on there. This year, the secondary center will have 323 seniors and 359 juniors, which is reaching capacity for the school district, which is fantastic. 597 students are involved in middle school programs, so there's been a big push from the state to start career tech type education in 7th grade, if not even younger. And so CTEC has programs with Heath and Lakewood and Northridge, and I think Licking Heights. There's five districts altogether that have career tech education in the middle schools.
But they're served in their local districts.
But they're served in their local districts, yep. And then 58 students, there's Lakewood, Northridge, and Granville all have satellite programs. At Lakewood and Northridge, those are computer information science programs, and Granville's the visual arts with Jenny Kinsley, right? Mm-hmm. And then we currently have 318 students in the adult education program. Every year, CTEC hosts an open house, and I guess usually they do it separately by school district, but this year for the first time, they just had a community-wide, district-wide open house, which I think was very successful. 165 sophomores came. Those are the only ones that signed in, but there's lots of other parents and other guests who are interested in the CTEC district. So it also included 48 business and industry partners and vendors. They had food trucks to feed everybody. Moe's Barbecue from Granville, and Poppy's Roadside Diner, which is owned by a CTEC graduate, actually. And so, like I said, this was the first time that they held the district-wide, and I think it was really well received, and so probably go ahead to continue that format moving forward. This year we added, we have 3 AP courses at CTEC, government, calculus, and this year we added chemistry, so that's new, which is probably why there's only 3 students in it at the moment. Government has 10 and calculus has 16. And another new course that we just added was a 12th grade English course in mythology. So we're gradually increasing the number of AP courses that we offer at CTEC. Altogether, there are 21 career tech programs, and all of them offer industry credentials, which is meaning that the students come out able to practice the career that they just trained for. And 80% of our completers earned a credential at the end of the 2015 school year. All of our programs also have articulation agreements with associate and BA degree programs at both private and public institutions, 1, 2, and 4-year institutions, and 47% of our graduates entered either a 1, 2, or 4-year program this year. We also have very high rates of dual enrollment. 85% of our students are dually enrolled, which means they're earning college credit at the same time that they're earning their high school credit. Our 4 to 5 year graduation rate is 96 to 98%, and the reason why it's a range is because in addition to the programs that CTEC is in charge of, they also have to track and be responsible for programs that they don't really implement. So if there's, like, for instance, we have FCCLA here. It's not a CTEC program, but our data goes into their record, so to speak. So that's why it's a range. And 94% of our graduates are placed in a program-related placement, and that can either be a job, apprenticeship, military, or some post-secondary education program. And we have an excellent rate of knowing where our graduates are, and that's part of the career tech report card, state report card, is knowing where your students are.
That's the end of your.
Is that the end of my thing? All right. So just a little bit of an update on, it's a phenomenal resource that we have in this community, and I'd just like to highlight, all of the fantastic things that are going on there, and the high quality of the education that students get, and the opportunities that they're able to take advantage of. So I just wanted to share that with the rest of the board this evening. So.
How many Granville students this year?
Actually, only 2.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's
two seniors.
Oh,
Two
at
seniors.
Yes.
CTEC, but there's some enrolled in the satellite program.
Yes.
There's like 12,
Yeah, 12.
In the satellite program. So yeah, we probably met the 2 when we
Right.
toured.
Yeah. It's just like, the more I hear about it, it's just there's so many fantastic things and such great resources to tap into there. Right? But I think we really need sort of a culture change here in terms of like understanding what they have to offer for our students, right, and a way to interface that. But it's just neat to see that. So thanks for bringing the updates and things.
Absolutely.
And I think,
No, go ahead.
I'd like to reiterate that, and I think one of the ways that we're planning on doing is with that partnership on the IT pathway, and so kids have that experience of utilizing CTEC as a resource, so that it's not viewed as the old joint vocational school that we all experienced in our school districts. So I really do think it is an asset that we need to utilize more often and more intentionally.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be, state mandates that students have to be college and career ready, not just career ready anymore. I mean, they have to be able to move on to college if that's their choice. So it's a different world than what it used to be, I think. So
I think they deserve a lot of credit. They've had very strong leadership, and you've communicated that repeatedly over the several years that you've been following them. So
yeah, at some point, I think we should invite Joyce to come
Yeah.
and address the board if she has a chance to, because she's very passionate about what she does. She also sits on many of the state boards that examine career tech education in Ohio. So she's representing career tech very well. So.
Great. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. Thomas?
The Granville Education Foundation got together last week. I was not able to be there.
I was there.
But I had a couple quick updates. If you have anything to add, we've received 4 grants, or we're hoping for 4 applications
I
for
believe
grants.
one came in late, so I think
Okay.
there's 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
there are 4 or 5, okay.
Okay.
Fantastic, that's great, and we'll be reviewing those over the next month. The new trustees are on board, and one thing that I thought that was most interesting, that's kind of starting to bubble up a little bit, and you can give me your perspective from the meeting, is there's a discussion about another committee, which is like a fundraising committee, to specifically look at their other more significant opportunities to kind of raise funds. And I kind of sense there's this, I'm not going to say it's a chicken or egg thing, there's like an opportunity to like do some fundraising, but I think also a need for the district to kind of step up and say, hey, here's where we have a need, right? And so I'm pretty excited about the momentum that's building in the GEF right now in general about ways to more significantly impact the quality of education in the district here. And so, if you were there, maybe you can give me a little bit of comments about how
There
that
was
came out.
conversation around having a funds development committee separate from the PR committee. For the most part, they kind of blended the two. They wanted to be a little bit more intentional about engaging certain segments of our population, but also the population that has been educated here and left. So our alumni.
Yeah.
And that is something that we've talked about for several years. And unfortunately, with board turnover, it gets to a point and then it falls back, and then it gets to a point and then it falls back. But there's also some conversation just about that, more of that being that umbrella organization that really drives a lot of the conversation about our support groups, and at least does some coordinating so that we're not just all fundraising at the same time, but there's a coordinated effort, and that we recognize that everybody's beneficial. The music boosters and what they do is fantastic for our music program, our athletic boosters, Aspire, GEF, some of our other parent groups. I think all are fantastic, but we don't want them to be competing with one another, but working together. So there was some conversation around that as well.
And everyone's invited to the chili cook-off, which is
Chili
next
cook-off
Saturday
is
morning, not this
October
Saturday,
3rd.
but October 3rd.
Yep.
Wait, the GEF will have a booth and an entry into the competition, and we'd love to
They're
go
going
there.
to be at the football game in the middle of October and announced last year's winners. And the teachers come out on the field and get recognized as well. So a couple of different efforts going on.
Great.
Any questions for Tom? Russ, you wanted to give an update on the economic sustainability?
Sure. As I think you know, there's a sort of what I would consider to be an ad hoc committee made up of folks in the community on the economic sustainability issue. It's generally comprised of representatives from the village council, namely the mayor and the village manager, Mr. Stillwell, and representatives from the township trustees, as well as the township fiscal officer, Jerry Miller. The Chamber of Commerce has been represented. Denison has been represented. The school district has had representation as well. Mr. Brown has really been, I would say it's fair to characterize as the person who's kept everybody on task and organized and kept us moving forward, which has been no small task with everybody going in multiple directions. But I'm encouraged, actually, by the last two meetings that we've had in terms of coming to some agreement on I would characterize it as getting out front of the economic realities that we, like a lot of other communities, are facing. The state budget's not growing, the obligations upon local communities are increasing, and folks are feeling pretty well taxed, and as we know from the last couple of levy campaigns. And so I think there's a broad agreement that there's an opportunity and, in fact, a need to be proactive and make plans. Now, there's certainly not yet agreement on what those plans ought to be and what the timing should be for those. But there's an understanding and agreement amongst, I think, all of the interested parties that we really need to take charge of what's happening here. Part of that will include how we want to attract new business development, what kind of business development that will look like. We've engaged folks within the economic development community to get their input on that and what it would take and for us to be effective in that process. And the thing that I find most encouraging as a result of our last meeting, which was just last week, as many of you, I think, may know, the village planner, Allison Terry, is resigning at the end of the year, and so the village will be filling that position. And frankly, really under the leadership of the mayor, there's been discussion at last week's village council meeting about incorporating an economic development function within that planning position. And the township trustees have indicated, I shouldn't say the township trustees, Melanie Schott, who was at our meeting, indicated she'd be willing to present that to the township trustees for consideration for their economic support as well. And so I think that's huge, actually. If the township and the village collaborate in a process where there is a person within the community who is designated as being the go-to person for economic development. So folks who are interested in relocating here, moving their businesses here, trying to find out whether their business would be welcome here, would have a person to go to is something that we lack. And I really commend the mayor in particular, and Mr. Stillwell, and Melanie Schott for their leadership and foresight there. I'm optimistic that that turned into something quite positive. Next meeting date hasn't been set yet, but I'll keep showing up as long as there are meetings and reporting back to you on what I think are some encouraging trends.
Thank you.
Is it headed toward, not a new plan or a vision of the plan, or we were looking more at making a committee or a group? I mean, that planning process has been sort of painful in the past, right? But I think what we need more is sort of a cultural change and a openness to the plans that we already have.
I think you hit it. I think you absolutely hit it on the head. And while it's too soon to declare victory,
Yeah.
I think that I don't think that there's a discussion now about reopening the area-wide plan. But I think within that planning document and within the input that the community has given, there is room to be intentional, and that requires a bit of a cultural shift.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a seismic shift. I think it's really us being organized, because one thing that I think all the parties recognize is that there are other communities out there that have area-wide planning and development efforts, and we don't. And perhaps we've never felt like we needed to. And I don't think that there's any sense at all that folks want to throw open the doors to any sort of new development. But there's a recognition that if we're thoughtful and intentional about it, we can really target the types of development and peg the growth to where we want to see that growth, to areas where it makes sense to grow, in the 161 corridor, for example. And there are some other areas around the region that make sense. So Thomas, I think to your question, I don't know that this becomes a formalized group. Frankly, I don't know enough of the legalities for that. There's definitely an ad hoc group, and there is leadership at both the village council level and the mayor, and at the trustees level, and certainly we're interested, and other folks are interested. The chamber has been very helpful too. I think that has to continue, but I do think it probably needs to become something more formalized at some point, to where there is a unified effort to really recruit the types of growth we want to see. And again, it's not throwing open, we're not talking about bringing in a 100,000 square foot manufacturing facility. We're talking about doing some things that would be complementary to the community and the types of uses that the community would welcome.
Yeah, it's fantastic work, and I'm really proud that we've been able to really start something, and thank you both for your involvement. If there's ways that the rest of the board or even other community members can help support it, and I think just start the kind of the conversations and around the coffee shop and so forth about that this is happening, because I get a lot of feedback from community members who are like, man, you guys are going to have a really hard time passing your next levy, whenever that is, no matter how well we spend our money or don't, and be responsible at it, and because this is coming at us. So I think that the community is going to be receptive to it, and the more we can start messaging about it and so forth, the better. So thanks a lot for keeping us in touch and just giving us updates and let us know if it's something we can do to support.
I think you hit it. It's fundamental that we continue the conversation, not just at this committee level. This is not a group that's meeting in secret. It really needs to be a community-wide discussion, which is, I think, what we all hoped when we threw our weight behind this effort and starting to build some momentum.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for us?
Thank you. I just echo what you said. It's a sea change that this discussion is happening, while what's happening within it may not be seismic yet. The fact that it's taking place over a decade that I've lived here, it's a big deal. So.
Thanks.
I think the ad hoc committee was a necessary step. There was a lot of change in personnel from when we started the conversation a year ago, in terms of trustees and things. And so it was, I think, important to regroup and get everybody on in a smaller group on the same page before we tried to spread the message out wider. So I appreciate continuing to push the conversation forward.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the action agenda, 10.01,
is the approval of the counselor evaluation documentation. It's really another byproduct of the OTES evaluation.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions? No? Take the roll, please.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item, 10.02, is an audiology contract with The Ohio State University.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
And I'll just share, this
Yeah.
is an as-needed contract. Right now, we have plenty of services offered by our two SLPs internally. But if we have a need, we want to have a contract in place.
Thank you. Take the roll, please.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 10.03 is a new supplemental for high school student services team leader.
So moved.
Second?
Second. Sorry,
Go
Russ.
ahead.
Go ahead. I'll let him have it.
You're
You're not
fine.
saying anything. You're just waving your glasses. So I don't know.
You're just beating me
Mike's
to the
not
punch.
picking
I'll
up
take
on
that with my. All right. So this is a cost-neutral shift in how we utilize the supplemental. We're not filling another supplemental that was comparable in a similar group, and we're hiring or adding this position because it's more of a need in the high school.
Like a department team leader.
Yeah, exactly, for
Okay.
student services specifically.
Okay.
Appreciate it was a teacher in a supplemental who said, I'm not needed
Yes.
in this role that allowed us to create this. So I would just like to
Yeah.
acknowledge that.
That is accurate.
That's great that they can evolve appropriately.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No.
Take the roll, please.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 10.04 is the 8th grade Washington DC field trip.
Second.
Bless you. Okay, and
Nice try.
although
Don't have my glasses.
Mr. Stewart has requested a certain level of increased compensation for this event, this is really just the approval of the overnight.
Any questions? Same sort of general, everything?
Yes.
going?
It's our
Staying at
annual
the Ritz
approval.
this time, right? That's the
What's that?
increase. They're
Staying-
staying at the Ritz this
Yeah.
time. That's the increase. Right. There we go. Okay.
Don't give him any ideas.
Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
The next item, 10.05, is a service agreement with the Eagles Wings Academy.
So moved.
Second?
I will second that.
Okay, and this is student services need, or student services contract with Eagles Wings, which is a service provider.
Is that based
For
here in Lincoln
students.
County?
It is.
Where, is that out of the ESC or?
It's no longer associated with the ESC. Phoenix is the ESC run. This is more of an independent operator, usually a Peterson Scholarship winner or
Right.
utilizer.
And is it as needed kind of thing? Or
Yeah,
is it, we
this
have a
is
couple of
related
students that
to
are?
a
yeah.
specific student.
Okay.
Take the roll, please.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. As mentioned earlier, 10.06 are the approval of the 2 Fuel Up to Play 60 grants.
Okay.
I'll second that. Taking money, no problem. That's
Yeah.
great. Good program.
Yeah, so I think I appreciate our teachers continuing to write grants, which are not, simple grant writing processes, that, they continue to find ways to generate revenue for their programs, which obviously helps our budget.
And this
So,
comes through the intermediate school physical education group?
Meredith Irvin and Barb Blotter.
Fantastic.
Any questions? Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Item 10.07 are maternity and paternity leaves.
I'll second.
It's pretty self-explanatory. It's in the water.
Congratulations and best wishes.
Yeah, congratulations all around.
Yes.
Take your roll, please.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Runtel.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. 10.08 is an unpaid leave of absence for several days.
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Take the roll.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Dr. Runtel.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. 10.09 is the contract with Kids Space, which is really Ruth Ann Parsley's after-school program. Thank you. You say that
Second.
with a really big smile.
Second.
On a second. Is this, in rating? Oh, it is.
Yes, it's a 2% rate
Yeah,
increase.
they've actually been at the same rate now for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Runtel.
Aye.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Item 10.10 is the cross-country team's overnight field trip to Centerville.
Second.
Any questions?
So this is new. right?
Yeah, so let me share a little bit of information. I had a nice long conversation on Sunday with Dale Gabor from OHSAA. In June, they do divisional alignment. So they look at enrollment data. Cross-country is the only sport in OHSAA that does combined enrollment for their divisional alignment, which doesn't make any sense because boys don't run for girls' teams and girls don't run for boys' teams. So there's an issue in and of itself right there in combined enrollment. But so divisional alignments are made in June. The season starts August 1. On August 12th, we were notified that our division had changed from Division 2 to Division 1 because there was an effort to eliminate STEM school students or charter school students from the enrollment counts, even though that they can participate in athletics in certain areas, which we don't necessarily disagree with. However, what they did in that divisional realignment is create an imbalance, and it violates their bylaws. We've communicated that to Dr. Ross, to Dale Gabor. They don't disagree, but they're not necessarily willing to change it. So obviously, we've scheduled to compete in Division 2. Now we're in Division 1, so we had to reschedule some events. This invitational is one of them. And it's an ongoing issue. Unfortunately, I've been placed on the statewide committee to address the issue long term. I wish I would just keep my mouth shut sometimes. But honestly, it doesn't make any sense. And the worst part is our state champs are not going to be able to defend their state championship in Division 2. And that's unfortunate. And
So they'll just have to win Division One.
yeah. The challenge with that is Division 1, the perfect example is Mason. Mason has 3,000 high school students. They only have to run 7. So they have a very broad pool for the 7 runners that they identify. And I've been in a large school district. It's the next man up. If someone gets a stress fracture, there's 3 people that can probably run that same time. We're not in that type of situation. So it really is a competitive balance issue. And unfortunately, there's some economic issues too, because, our kids that win Division II state championships have the ability to get some scholarship revenue. And Tyler Otterstad, some others that have done very well, get a look because they're winning state championships in Division II, which is appropriate for them. So it's an ongoing issue, and that's a long explanation. Obviously, I'm passionate about it because it doesn't make any sense, and they know it.
It doesn't affect other sports, though?
No.
No.
Because it's the boy-girl
Yeah.
combination. So
It-
like football is only boys, and so it looks at
Yeah.
a male enrollment.
So I would assume
And-
other districts have girls and boys as well, though, right? So you would think that would scale.
No,
Wouldn't it? Like, I
Because
don't quite
there's certain
understand.
cutoffs, right, which you said there's some
Yeah.
formula.
there's a
So
formula
yes,
that
it
goes
does,
in.
but it works to our disadvantage, is what
Correct.
Jeff is saying in this case.
21 schools were in Division II and got moved to Division I. So it's unfortunate. And honestly, now, so I think there are 509 teams. There are actually 600 school districts that offer cross-country. But in order to have a team, you have to be able to field 7 runners. Well, there are several school districts that offer a program, but only have one runner. But they're not a team, so they compete individually. So they have to strip them out in some ways. And then if you take out STEM school students, which artificially put some of the larger urban school districts into higher divisions than they should be in. So what we advocated for was grandfather us. Remove the STEM school students. We don't disagree with that. Separate enrollment. Don't do combined enrollment because it's the only sport that does it.
Yeah.
And it was done 2 years ago with a different OHSAA board. And then, so grandfather us, let us compete in our division that we scheduled for this year. And if we have to plan appropriately, then we'll plan appropriately for next year. That did not get legs. We're still pushing though.
Okay, so we get an overnight.
Long
field
story.
trip. Overnight. So we get an overnight meet.
Wow.
Right,
Yes.
because it's an early meet or it's a
Yes.
late meet or something like that
Yeah.
and so forth, and the economics of it, that we pay for housing and stuff, or?
Yeah, transportation, it depends. Usually the parents will pick up the overnight stay. But I'm not sure specifically what the cost implications are. Sometimes, like with the softball team, we paid for the overnight accommodations. We packed 4 kids in a room.
Mhm. And we have adequate supervision for an overnight event with the coaching staff that we have, or other ways to make
Yep.
sure that that's good and safe?
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sorry.
But it's just cross-country?
This
Like
is
soccer
cross-country.
or any of the other sports
No.
where we have male and
No.
female teams, it's just cross-country?
It's just cross-country.
Not even track,
No.
just cross-country.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who moved and who seconded? Do you remember?
Amy- Yeah,
Yeah.
Amy moved in.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds. Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Dr. Rontel.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye?
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 10.11 is the approval of middle school youth and government.
So moved.
Okay, if you are not aware of youth and government, it's a program that is run by the YMCA in conjunction with schools to really build our youth's understanding of the governmental processes, if they followed them appropriately, instead of doing things in conference committee. Sorry. And Mr. Stewart and Meg Holler, correct, are going to be coordinating our middle school youth and government. We have an active high school program, so we're excited to see this feeder system. We generally represent a large portion of the students that are down at the State House during the youth and government conference. Our kids do very well.
It's a great opportunity.
Yes.
Thank you. So will that have a supplemental associated with it as well?
It is
or-
not, it's voluntary.
Wonderful, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Take the roll, please.
Mr. Janice.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Rontel.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Okay, also mentioned by Simon earlier, 10.12 is the approval of the GHS Interact Club.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, Interact is the youth level Rotary Association. So very similar to Key Club for Kiwanis. The Interact Club is going to be advised by Grace Wagner, who is also a teacher at the high school. And they had their kickoff event on Friday last week, and their first project was to create goodnight bags. So to take to some of the shelters locally, and it had a blanket, a book, a stuffed animal, and a toothbrush and toothpaste in it. And so we had about 30 or 40 parents and students there to participate in that activity. It was a great thing. So we're looking forward to their continued service to the community. Another thing that we could put up on the student leadership.
There you go.
Was the materials donated?
Materials were donated.
Do we have a supplemental for Key Club?
We do. This is not a supplemental. It's an advisory that's voluntary at this point.
Okay.
Any other questions? Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds? Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Dr. Rentel?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Dr. Corman?
Aye.
Okay, 10.13 is approval of the GHS Art Club, so 3 clubs in a row. This is from, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, Sarah Schimmel, now Noblet, is it Noblet? Yes. Is willing to advise the art club. We have not had an art club in the past, so she had several students that wanted to create a new club. A lot of times, I've been doing college tours, so one of the things that most colleges promote is if you have a passion and you want to pursue it, and you can get a student or a parent or a staff advisor or a faculty advisor, you can create that club. I kind of feel like this is an example of that. So we have some students that have an interest in this, and they asked Sarah, and she was willing to do that. So I think that's great.
When I saw that, I was actually surprised that we didn't already have that.
No, I know.
So that's great. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yep.
You talked about what kinds of things they're gonna do, or we don't know?
We don't know
met
yet.
and
They have not met
Okay.
yet.
Any other questions? Take the roll, please.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Dr. Rentel?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Dr. Corman?
Aye.
I think it's one of those things that Simon referenced when we do the activity fair. It's opportunities for students to go around and see what opportunities they have available to them, and then participate in what they feel is a good fit for them. So we're looking forward to those.
I very much enjoyed the music they were playing during the,
Yes?
what's in my backyard.
Oh. Good point.
Good thing you enjoyed it then.
Yes. All right, thank you. 10.14 is the Educational Service Center of Central Ohio contract for the visually impaired, behavioral specialist, and adaptive PE services.
Second?
Okay. And these are our annual contracts with the ESCCO.
Okay.
And these are as needed,
Oh, so we-
No, these
Oh, these
are
are-
in-place services.
That's right.
Okay. And contract started already?
Yeah, it's a rolling
Oh,
contract.
okay. Thanks. Any other questions?
No.
Take a roll, please.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Dr. Rentel?
Aye.
Dr. Corman?
Aye.
Thank you. 10.15 is a temporary contract for psychological services, not for your superintendent.
It wouldn't be temporary.
But
It would be temporary.
Sorry.
do you have that on tape, Michael? All right.
So moved.
Katie seconded.
Second, yeah. We have a situation where we have an employee that's on leave for right now, and Jill Riggs was our employee last year, and we're happy that she could come back and fill in for us.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
Any other questions? Take the roll, please.
Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Dr. Rentel?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Dr. Corman?
Aye.
Okay. That brings us to our consent agenda. So 11.01A through C7.
Motion to approve? And a second?
Second.
Okay. I'll call your attention to a few things. The first one is a donation of 200 Dell computer monitors valued at $50 each from State Farm. I know Glenn was very pleased to go and get that donation. Obviously.
So is I. We claimed 2 of them.
Yeah. So we appreciate State Farm. They notify us regularly of items that they don't need anymore, and a lot of times we take them up on their donations, so we appreciate that.
That's great.
And I hear that they have more. So we also have $2,000 for Rachel's Challenge Assembly, donated by Granville Kiwanis, and $50 to the GHS Band and $500 to the GHS Band. So thank you very much for all of the people that support us financially through donations. The other things are pretty standard. I'd call your attention to the resignation of Jill Dunham for GMS Math Counts coach. We'll be looking to find a new coach for that club. And then John Wheeler, who is our district computer technician. We have posted that position as of today, so we're looking for a new systems administrator. And that is about it.
We talked about the part-time to full-time.
Yes, oh, I'm sorry, yeah. So, yeah, we talked about that before, but just to solidify it, Erin Bade was hired as a part-time kindergarten teacher for our half-day program. Because we have some classrooms at the 1st and 2nd grade level that have higher enrollment than what we would like to see, we've offered her a full contract so that she can float between a few classrooms in the afternoon to address the larger class sizes. So she can work in reading groups and offer support that way.
So the mechanism is going to be just kind of floating around to whichever
Yeah.
teachers need her, or is it going to be a pull out or a push in kind of
It's
thing?
going to be
or
very
is it-
structured, but she'll have specific groups of kids that she's working with regularly to maximize the benefit.
So does she do AM kindergarten and she'll float?
Yeah, in the afternoon.
And there really is, from a budgeting standpoint, there's no additional cost to this because we had actually budgeted for a position that was halftime kindergarten and halftime ESL.
Yeah.
And we could not find a halftime ESL teacher. We decided we didn't quite need the services for that, and so we just did a little extended time. So the half position was already in the budget.
Any other questions?
No.
Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds? Aye. Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Dr. Miller?
Aye.
Dr. Rantel?
Aye.
Dr. Cornman?
Aye.
Okay, that ends the consent agenda and takes us to finances.
Our-
And you thought you were tired now.
Yeah. Our meeting's not passing the Kendall test here.
Yeah, that's right.
The first monthly financial report for August. So moved. I will be brief. There's still, because it's only the second month of fiscal year, and because I'm be doing the 5-year forecast next month, there's some five-year forecast aspects to this, but they're really still a work in progress at this point. I'm getting close to being done with it. I will be done with it in the next couple of days. The base forecast for, so some of this stuff, looking at the overall is still a moving target. About the only things that I want to highlight for the month of August, a couple of our line items were a lot higher than we expected. The purchase services, there was a lot of timing issues there. If you remember, we paid 2 electric bills in August because we didn't have the one in July. I believe we paid our lack of services a month earlier this year than we paid them last year, and that's a big chunk of money that went out during August and normally was on in September. So there's some timing issues, but I will warn you, it is not all timing. have some issues in our purchase services budget. Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about it. It's all for stuff that we have no choice but to fund, including additional Peterson scholarships, additional services that we've needed for the ESC this year for students with disabilities, including additional aid and additional contract services to handle an increase in our population of students with need. And so we will see a pretty large increase in that area of the budget that is pretty much mandatory. So that's really the main area. We were a little high in our benefits, and unfortunately that's going to continue also. You see next month we have had an increase in the number of family plans relative to single plans. We've had drops in single plans, increases in family with our new employees above where we have been. And so we're seeing some added costs on because of that as well. It'll all be reflected in the more detail in the 5-year forecast next month. Most of the revenues, expenditures, the property taxes are completely in. They actually were right on target. The only shortfall was because we have the delinquency in our largest commercial taxpayer who is still not paid their second half taxes, and we're short almost exactly by that delinquency from where we were expecting to be. If you look at the second last page, the cash flow, we are still meeting our cash flow, our cash balance guidelines through fiscal year 2017. Each month, we are staying above the green line on the chart, or at least equal with it, which is good. And we actually have a cash balance at the end of August of $15 million. I will warn you, when we get to the end of September, that number is going to be something like $40 million, because we completed the bond refunding sale this month on the 3rd, and so we have $27 million plus sitting in an account which will sit there until around Thanksgiving, when we will send the payments through Huntington to call the bonds that we are refunding. Hopefully this won't be one of the months the state looks at analyzing why districts have so much cash on their hands for their budget, because our cash balance is going to be bigger than our budget for the next couple of months. That will obviously go away at the end of November, as we make the bond payments, which are due on December 1st. Questions?
No, thanks for the, I wish we were that flush that we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think that the temporary surplus is related to the leadership you showed in refinancing the bonds early when rates were lower. So I know we saved a considerable amount of money there, much as it pains us to have to pay that money back out to repay the bonds. But it's a net benefit to the district. I am curious though, and not for today, but obviously for perhaps next month or when we're doing our 2x2s, I'd like to know a little bit more about increase in the purchase services and whether you forecast that to be the new normal in the 5-year, in which case I think we're going to have to look hard at where we are with expenditures.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking right now, I think talking with Glenn, if you would agree, this is probably looking more like a new normal than an aberration. A lot of these are younger kids, correct? And so these are younger kids that will be with us for a while, no doubt. And it just seems, we have a large group coming through preschool right now, larger than we have had. We had a large group last year, which was larger than anything we had seen. I think the group we have this year is larger than the group we had last year that are in the preschool special needs. So I think it's a pretty good bet at this point that it's really more of a new normal than it is a one-time aberration.
So we'll have to plan accordingly in the 5-year forecast.
Right, you're right. And I don't, I don't know what the impact is there, but, one of the things I suspect you're looking at is whether, if those expenditures are going to, and the need is going to be higher going forward, whether there's a way that we, rather than outsource that work, we do it internally more efficiently. We'd love to hear about that.
We've done some preliminary work at the preschool level, and the numbers don't look like it would be a viable alternative for us to bring it in-house. We just, under certain circumstances, but there are circumstances we can't guarantee, it might be beneficial to bring it in-house, but again, we probably can't even legally meet those make those circumstances happen for what it would take to.
But
make
to your
it better.
point, we always
Yeah.
look for ways to provide the service to best meet the child's need, but also do it in recognition of the budget. And if there's a way to do it more cost effectively, one of those was providing itinerant services versus using flying colors. So by us using our current employees to provide itinerant services, we drastically reduced costs a couple of years ago, and it's been working very well. But again, when you're dealing with student needs, student services, everything's about an individual child. So there is no formula. It's really about meeting that individual child's needs according to FAPE, free and appropriate public education. And so that's a team conversation. The team includes the parents, the teachers, the administration, and we figure out, okay, what is going to best meet this child's needs, and sometimes that's expensive.
And the support that we get from the state doesn't necessarily scale appropriately with our cost. Because there's additional.
I would say that's
serv-
accurate.
Well,
Yeah.
plus,
And that's 'cause of-
partly because the state is only paying us $1 out of every $3 that we have, funding for us, $1 out of every $3 that we need to spend on special education. Because it's tied to our state share index, which is around 33%. So if the state determines that we should get
Yeah.
$600,000 of special ed, say, of funding, they'll give us 200 and expect us to come up with the other 400 locally. And that's not going to change.
And the services are mandated.
Correct.
There's nothing that can be done in that. They have to be delivered.
Correct.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments about the financial report?
No.
Take the roll, please.
Mr. Janus.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. Second is the permanent appropriation resolution for 2016.
So moved. Second. Katie and Amy?
Amy.
The appropriation, there's a copy in your packet. It looks very much like the temporary appropriation look that we passed back in June. There are some small differences in a few of the line items, partly based on updates of how much federal money that we are getting, which unfortunately came out Friday morning. So we had to kind of scramble to get these adjusted to the new levels, and a couple of the line items. I think we're upping it a little bit in like grant money, because we don't think we had enough appropriated for the grant money for some of the student activities funds. And those are all money it's raised separately and it comes in, so it's not additional resources that we are putting out. The operating appropriation is the same as it was back in June, the total level of operating appropriation. That has not changed.
Any questions? Take the roll, please.
Dr. Rantel.
Aye.
Ms. Deeds. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Janus.
Aye.
Dr. Corman.
Aye.
Thank you. The final item on the financial is a resolution for transportation deemed impractical.
Have a second?
Second.
This is something we have done each year the last couple of years. We get in a situation where there may be one or two kids going to somewhere is a private school that was within 30 minutes of the district, which by state law we are required to transport them, but it is not cost effective to transport. In this case, it's 3 kids and 1 family to a school in Blacklake. You have to provide, we have no one else going anywhere near Blacklake. And so the state gives us the opportunity to deem transportation impractical, and we pay a stipend based on a state law structure to the family to offset their costs of transporting the kids to the school. You know, we've done this the last couple of years for this family.
Is Blacklake actually 30 minutes? Does it lie within that?
It's like
Awfully
20
close.
It's like 28, it's like 28 minutes. The place I go is like 28 minutes. So yeah, it's been time.
Any other questions? All right, take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Dr. Rentel?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Dr. Kornman?
Aye.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or state statute. Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Janice?
Sounds
Aye.
very,
Dr. Rentel?
aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds?
Imposing.
Dr. Kornman?
Aye. There will be action taken after the executive session.
That's correct.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I'd like to make a motion to, or I'd like to have a motion to authorize the superintendent to sign a service agreement for special education services.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Dr. Rentel?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds? Dr. Kornman?
Aye. And now I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Russ, then Katie? Russ, then Katie?
We're fine.
And take the roll, please.
Mr. Janice?
Aye.
Dr. Rentel?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Dr. Kornman?
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.